shit we don't like. Hey guys, Megamet1254 here. I'm joined by my good friends Wasteland World Official and Dan's Reviews.
What's up, guys?
And we're doing episode 1, guys, of our iconic podcast, Shit We Don't Like. So to start us off, guys, we're going to be talking about the fan favorite show, Stranger Things. We're going to give our thoughts on that show. You know, some things we actually kind of do like about it, but mostly, you know, what we don't like, because name of the podcast, big whoops. So, okay, so where to begin with this? Season 1, right? It was actually a pretty good season. Well, what do you guys think about that?
I thought it was, it wasn't really necessarily, like I'd say, phenomenal, but it done what it needed to do. It wrapped things up in a way I think that it honestly should have ended in. They still should have gone with its guts and its core. But nothing phenomenal, but still a good, very solid first season overall.
Mm-hmm.
I would definitely say season 1 is a good season. I kind of look at it as like it's a good mini story. Like, let's say, I don't know, you do like an 8-episode story. Perfect example of a short run, and honestly, they should have stuck with that if you ask me, but whatever, honestly. It's a good first season. It's a good standard, like, 9 out of 10 for me, honestly. I'll give it that.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, like, season 1, pretty good start, had good characters, good story, general interesting ideas, general good plot. Cool kind of like concepts. I was a pretty big fan of the first season, but then this is when it all kind of starts to go downhill for myself and my 2 other friends here is friggin' season 2. Now, season 2. It's a decent season. It's not horrible by any means, but the praise that season got, I don't see it at all personally. It felt like a repeat of the first season, just like redoing ideas, lots of like friggin', you know, another monster, you know, same kind of idea, and it follows up on the that little cliffhanger at the end of season 1 where you have like that new monster Will kind of spits out in the sink or whatever, and that's like the big cliffhanger at the end of the first season. They get to season 2, and right off the gate, this is already a problem I have with it. A return of Eleven is played off as like a shocking moment, like, oh my god, Eleven's back, but it's like, you fully know she's not dead by the end of the first season. Like, you know Netflix wouldn't kill that character off, because kind of like how like Daryl is for The Walking Dead, she's the fan favorite, right? Like, they're not going to kill the fan favorite off, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Agreed.
Yeah. And with season 2 as well, this is something that, like, I actually, to be honest with you guys, I actually dropped off of season 2 during that bottle episode when Eleven goes to Chicago and it's like she's meeting with those like young punks or whatever. After that episode, I got about halfway through. I actually had to turn it off, and then other shows came up, like Walking Dead was still around at the time and all that, and I'm just like, I don't have time for this anymore, really. Like, so I dropped it. But, would you guys like to give your perspectives on, like, the rest of Season 2 and maybe go into a bit of Season 3? Pardon the technical difficulties, guys. We just kind of had a little minor malfunction. As I was going to say is, you guys have seen Seasons 2 and 3 fully through. I dropped off, like I said earlier, so I'd actually really like to hear your guys' perspectives. Like, maybe you guys actually like some stuff from those seasons. So, yeah, whichever one of you guys wants to talk, go ahead.
Right, so with season 2, I mean, I already knew from the beginning of it that, you know, finding out the summer prior that, and this was supposed to be like a mini-story, wrapping it up in season 1 and, you know, coming in with a solid first season. And when they realized that the show was getting traction and stuff, that's when they actually added in a scene the last minute for season 1 where, like, Will spits out that thing in the sink. And but yeah, I mean, I going into season 2, I knew that there was going to be problems already because they don't know what the clear story was. because it was only supposed to be one season, and and that's a problem when it's supposed to be a one season thing. Then you start running into things called like repeating stories or stories that don't go anywhere, plot threads that are still not answered and stuff. Which one being the one that you were watching, Matt, and the one that you dropped off on, like that has nothing to do with the main story. She has a sister, Big Whoop. I mean,
Yeah.
it really cares. It's just there to paint out time and stuff. But yeah, it was season 2 was something that when I left it, I just felt blah. I didn't feel like it really. When I'm first watching Stranger Things season 1, I was kind of like, okay, that was a solid first season. But when I finished watching season 2, I was kind of like, yeah, no, this was pretty good. But like there was some flaws I had with it. Number 1 being the monster this season, the Mind Flayer. I thought that this was a trash villain, a trash monster for the show. You have season 1, which is the Demogorgon. Something simpler and something more to the core of this Stranger Things vibe. Whereas in the second season, you have this big tornado thing in the clouds and stuff, and it didn't give the tension that the Demogorgon had. Another thing about it
It's called the Mind Flayer, right?
Yeah, it's the Mind Flayer. And
right.
It was just garbage. I don't like it. Season 3.
Guys, so we're back from more technical difficulties per se. So yeah, it's kind of why
we're figuring this crap out. Okay.
Bear with us, please.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of why we're all kind of like a little laughy right now. But yeah, you were saying about the Mind Flayer, Wasteland.
Yeah. So the Mind Flayer, it was one of them villains that just it didn't pack the punch that the Demogorgon had, because the Demogorgon, when it was in the scene, like you felt tension there. But when the Mind Flayer is in the scene, it's just a big flying thing in the sky. It don't really matter to the story that much, and like it don't really do anything.
Dude, I was just about to say, the fact that the Mind Flayer is like a more popular villain than like Negan or like Alpha or Beta, like, and it's just a big floating cloud thing that has like no dialogue. It kind of reminds me of you guys know Sauron from Lord of the Rings? He's like the big floating eye.
Yep.
It's like that, where it's like, dude, what a masterclass freaking villain. But then it's like, no, it doesn't have dialogue. It's like not even like a living thing, really. It's like what's the Mind Flayer? It's like made of air, basically, or something.
It's I don't even. They haven't even really explained it, really.
Yeah, and then that's the villain for season 3 too, right?
Yeah, it's that, but in a different type of form, if you know what I'm saying. It's kind of like if the Mind Flayer made exploding rats and the rats came onto it.
Yes.
Bro, that's
Man.
weird.
I'm gonna say though, honestly, in terms of threats for season 2, like in season, because season 3, like we'll get to, but they kind of have more threats going on. Whereas in season 2, they just have Will this whole season, like, is he okay? Is he not okay? And it's like, okay, in season 1, you made me care for this kid. In season 2, you're egging it on. Like, I don't care. He's just among them. Like, I'm just like, okay, so you're gonna have him scared of this stupid spider in the sky. Meanwhile, this stupid boyfriend of Joyce is just like, yeah. Now, when you see it, yeah, just say go away, and it'll go away, and it's totally fine. I'm just like, wow, yeah, you're gonna do that to a major spider that's coming at you. Okay, yeah, good luck with that. So he completely fails. It's an embarrassing scene, and I'm not even scared. How are you supposed to be scared of a stupid thing like hanging out of the sky? Like, honestly, I don't understand. And I'm gonna be honest. This is what I'm gonna say about season 2. I don't like the repetitiveness. Honestly, I feel like the show is very unrecognized when it comes to how repetitive it actually is. It doesn't make sense, honestly, guys. It really just truly does not make any sense. So, I don't know. I think in terms of the repetitiveness of the show, that's the main thing I want to say. Season 2, I just think that as the time goes on, I'm like, man, it's the same story every time. You end season 1, you think everything's fine. Season 2 comes in, and it's like you're just basically doing the same thing, rehashing old wounds, if you will. And I just don't get it. I really don't get it at all. And I think, honestly, with season 2, where it shines and where I will say it does actually have something good, though, is the characters. I like the characters. Certain ones like Steve improves. I'll give it that. But most of the time, you're stuck with an overrated character, giving her a bottle episode, giving her a pointless sister that has no impact on the story after your bottle episode. It just doesn't make any sense. And the 11 and Mike relationship, if they maybe spent more time on it and gave them better things to do, I would care. But the thing about it is that you're focused on the group all trying to come together to defeat this monster, which in season 1 you already did. So why are we doing this again when you could just make this a short and sweet 8-episode story? It just doesn't really make any sense. And I'm just gonna basically say season 2. We end things off with Clem, and basically, I'm just going to be honest, I think the way this season ends, basically 11, closes the gate, and we're just like, okay, everything's over, everything's fine, and, this and that. And essentially, the season ends, you think everything's good again, right? Just like season 1. It's like, it's all nice again, they're at the ball, and everything's like all magical and whatever. And I'm just like, okay, so we're doing basically the same thing that we did at the end of season 1. Except this time, it's like, it feels like it's over, but then there's that twist. Oh, look, well, upside down, there's still something going on. It's like, okay, so you basically end season 2 in a way where you could end it, but if fans want another season, you're going to continue. That's not a good story because overall, you don't have a plan in the end. So that's all I'm saying. Season 2 for me, not as good as season 1, but I'm going to be honest, the characters, they improved by a tad. There you go. That's kind of basic thoughts.
Okay,
and
cool.
The thing is too, like I gotta say, when the more the show goes on, the more they can't find stories to do for certain characters. For example, Mike has an inject squats in season 1. He's legit just been there just be like, oh, 11's love interest. And it's honestly gotten so ridiculous to the point where when he has a saying and stuff, you're just like, dang, what has this character come to? What has happened to this character that we know and love? Same thing with Will. Season 3, he done nothing. Where season 1 and 2, he had his plot to the story. He was the guy that led them to the upside down, and it just screws up so much,
Oh, and I will actually add to that too. Lucas. Now there's another conversation. Lucas, I'm not a fan of that character. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest. He complains all the time. He completely just screws everything up. He like even fights like a few of like his friends in season 1 just because he doesn't trust 11 and stuff. But in season 2, he's just like this whiny guy that's just like going around trying to defeat the monsters, but he's just whining the whole time. He's complaining. He doesn't have anything else good to do but complain and, judge everybody for certain decisions that they make. And I'm just like, what is this character? Like, honestly, I'll never understand Lucas as a character, honestly.
Yeah, and that's actually something else I was going to ask is, like, friggin' in season 3, right? Because obviously I haven't seen it yet. Do the characters, like, get better at all, or does it just keep, like, tanking?
The characters in season 3, I'm just gonna say, they get worse. I'm gonna be honest because, okay, like you introduced a few new characters, but Steve, I actually thought was a cool guy in season 2. Season 3, he's just meh, to be honest. Like, there's nothing special about him, and basically everybody else, like 11 and Mike, are just like in a relationship, but you don't have any cool scenes of 11 with like her powers and stuff until like the last couple episodes. She does like a few things. But they even ruin 11 even more, if you ask me, because at the end of season 3, there's like the question of, well, she can't even crush a Coca-Cola bottle, so is she losing her powers? And that's kind of like what they leave you off of. It's like, oh, maybe she doesn't have her powers. And Hopper's just like this grumpy, like, dad-type character in season 3. Like, he gets in a few fights, but I don't know. Every character's just kind of just going down as the seasons go on. And, Dustin, he's not even funny to me anymore. He had a few lines in season 1 I kind of laughed at, but in season 3 I just didn't care. They introduced a Robin character, which again, doesn't do anything for me. And the rest of the cast is just boring, honestly. And this is the other thing I'm going to say. In season 3, they introduced a character that everybody is calling Terminator 2.0. because they literally get this dude that looks like Terminator to become one of your main villains in season 3, and basically that fights Hopper and all this stuff. And I'm just like, Matt, so you can't even come up with an original villain. Like, this guy just looks like the Terminator, dollar store version of Terminator. So even villains in season 3 suffers. That's how bad the characters get.
Yeah, and I was actually gonna ask too, there's this character, like, I remember when the season was out and it was on Netflix for the first couple of weeks, all you'd hear about is this guy, Alexei. Like, Alexei this, Alexei that, he's the best character on TV, he's a masterpiece. Look, Alexei is having a Slurpee now, like, oh my god, he's amazing. Like, does Alexei live up to any of that hype, or is he just, like, overrated beyond belief?
Guys, I'm gonna take a sip, right? Look, I'm the most popular character on all TV now just because I'm sipping on a drink here. I mean, wow, like, look at this. This is so incredible. Guys, Instagram's going to blow up about this. Like, honestly, check all your social media. It's going to be all over the place, guys. People love me now because I just took a sip of a drink. Are you freaking kidding me right now? You are not even a major freaking character. You're just sitting there. Literally, there's an episode about Hopper that's like, okay, take the keys. You want the certain, like, flavored Slurpee? Okay, we'll take the car, take the keys. You can go. And then he's like, he won't drive away. He's afraid of me. And then Joyce is like, Hopper, no, he's really driving away. And Hopper's like, no, he's not. He's pulling out of the driveway right now. He goes out there, he freaking pulls out a little bit, and then stops the car, drives back, gives Hopper his keys back, and then says, strawberry's good enough anyway. I'm like, what the frick is this character? Like, anyway, not a fan of them. To get my point across.
Right. And do any of the kids improve at all, or do they just decline as well?
They all decline.
They all decline. Every last one of them. Even 11, who is apparently like the big, hero of this show. She can't even, like I said, the one cool thing she has, they're like potentially getting rid of, which are her powers. So what does this character have? She's just like a girlfriend for Mike now, which Mike is also not developing at all. So not good.
Yeah, so essentially, and she still speaks she speaks in broken English, right, still?
Yeah, kind of. Not really.
Let's just say there's this, like, kind of cringy line where she just looks at Mike when she's having a fight with him, and she catches him at the mall, and she doesn't know he's there, hanging out with his friends, and basically she's hanging out with her new friend Max now, and she just looks at him, and she basically is so mad at him that she basically breaks up with him. So she walks up to him and she's like, I dump your ass. And then you got this song, You're as Cold as Ice, that starts playing. As she starts laughing about what she did, I'm like, wow. And this is like, what, best scene in television? Man, honestly, Netflix, that did yourself again, man. Honestly, just wow.
Yeah.
Like, they crack these characters up to be like some of the best of TV and stuff, and I'm like, man, there's so many better characters out there in the TV universe. Like, it's crazy how stupid some of these characters are. And like the moment like I realized how bad the show has gotten and stuff is when you legit bring in the cliche Russian Soviets and stuff, and they're doing experiments and doing all this bull crap, and it just becomes so repetitive and so stupid and so cliche.
Man, I don't want to bring in another TV show here just because I know we're like, we're focused on one topic, but you want to compare, okay, for anybody watching this that is actually a big fan of Breaking Bad, you want to compare Gus Fring to the Terminator 2.0 in season 3. Who's a better villain? Who's a better character? Who's had better character development? And you know what the screwed up thing is? Stranger Things villains, oddly, sometimes get more praise than any villain in Breaking Bad.
Yep.
Character development, with all this stuff, with all the just crazy stuff they do. And people freak out over a spider in the sky. Wow.
Yep.
I was gonna say, frickin', like, earlier when we were talking about Alexei, right? This is when, like, I was gonna bring up a point here. You have Alexei, he's, like, sipping a Slurpee, making this little funny face. And then people are like, oh, he's the best character on TV. And then, okay, Walking Dead spoilers here, guys, for Season 10 all around. Then you got Negan, right? From The Walking Dead Season 10. Does a bunch of crazy shit this season. Easily his best season from the show. I think we can all agree on that.
Oh, yeah.
And he basically infiltrates the Whisper camp. He kills Alpha. helps the group kill Beta, and has his amazing own standalone episode, and then people are like, oh yeah, that guy, fuck that guy, Alexei's better. I'm like, what? Like, it doesn't make any sense, you know what I'm saying? Like, I know there's countless comparisons I can make here, guys, but it's like, I don't know, like, Alexei is apparently the best character on TV because he says some funny stuff and sits in a car, has a Slurpee. I'm like, have people gotten that, like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's almost like they don't care about, like, the mass viewers, they don't really care about character development or, like, storytelling or, like, proper characters. It's like, this is what people mostly care about nowadays, and it's like, basically like, oh, I'm the big, dumb, funny guy, like, and people are like, best character right there. And I actually looked this guy up, because I fucking hate this character, and Danny K know what I'm about to go on about here. Friggin', Hodor from Game of Thrones. He's this big, dumb guy who says, Hodor! Hodor! And he's literally ranked as one of the best Game of Thrones characters. He's in the top 10 of the whole franchise on multiple lists. So I'm like, bro, I'll take freaking Stannis Baratheon over him, and I hate Stannis Baratheon.
Yeah.
Dude, you want to compare Hodor, who gets probably like 10 times more praise than Rick Grimes, for God's sake. Like, come on, man. These characters, like, I just,
Yeah.
And like, and it's just, and with the whole entire, like, season 4 thing and stuff too, their advertising on that has been so crap so far. Like, legit. I mean, the first thing that drops here is you get a thumbnail, and it's Hopper from season 1 and 2 and 3, and apparently he dies and stuff, and it's like his death in season 3 meant something. It would have been a good turning point for the story, would it not? And honestly, it would have been a good death. It would have been good. It would have been fit with the story, and it would have been coherent with what it's saying. And they bring them back to like, oh, the American, and it's like, can you be more obvious, you know? And then it gets to the point where they just legit drop a teaser of him like working on some railroad tracks, and it's just, I don't know, and it's like, you know, if you wanted to keep people guessing and stuff, you lost the chance right there.
Well, yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? Netflix knows this shit. They play their audience, because their audience, like, they know their audience, right? All they have to do, they don't gotta do this for Stranger Things, because it's gonna get the viewers no matter what. They don't have to do the big hyped up secrets or anything, because, like, it's like, okay, we're gonna reveal Hopper in a trailer after people think he's been dead, even though at the end of season 3, they clearly confirm he's alive. And we're just gonna show him in a trailer because that's what's gonna get the viewers in. That's what's gonna bring in the views, the ratings. You know what I'm saying? Like, you just show a little teaser of Hopper. Literally, what was it? Like 30 seconds, really. And like, that's it. Now, another comparison I'm gonna make here, right? Well, we're on the topic of season 4, which is why we're actually doing Stranger Things as our topic this week, is because of the season 4 teaser that dropped. But the comparison I'm gonna make here is you got the season 11 trailer Walking Dead, right? That drops at Comic-Con about 2-3 weeks ago now. Yep. Got about 500,000 views in 3 weeks. Got the Stranger Things season 4 trailer, right? Or teaser, or whatever the heck you want to call it. That dropped about 5 days ago now. Yeah. That I think that's currently sitting about 2.5 million, 3 million views as of now. 5 days in. Walking Dead Season 11, that drops in 3 weeks, only has 500,000 views. Like, this is, it's just like, okay, I'm not trying to sound like a Walking Dead fanboy when I say this, right? But it's like, you have a show like Walking Dead, you know, great characters, great stories all around, you know, very interesting plots. Like, obviously, we're all huge fans of that show. And you have Stranger Things, which, in my opinion, after Season 1, it's your generic Netflix show, like every other Netflix original you got on there. That gets, like, millions of views. It brings in the ratings. You get Walking Dead, and people are like, oh, it's repetitive garbage. That's terrible. You still watch that garbage. I'm like, bro, I could say the same thing about Stranger Things, because, like, okay, let's look at Stranger Things for the first 3 seasons. You have the kids, they fight the monster does some weird shit, then the monster dies. Season 2, same shit. You have a monster, the kids have to fight the monster, then the monster dies. Season 3, rinse and repeat, guys. And Season 4, it actually looks like they might be spicing it up a little finally, but, like, it looks like, are we even getting a monster in Season 4, or is it literally just the Russians?
I think it's the Russians. Yeah, like, it's going to be the Russians, and, oh, you know what? Actually, speaking of repetitiveness, I have another one for you. Every season, Season 1, Season 2, and Season 3, and people know this, and you know what's messed up? They like what I'm about to say. People actually like this, is that the repetitiveness is so darn bad that every season they kill a character that starts with the letter B. Burr, Bob, and then Billy. Every season, they kill somebody with the first letter B. So I'm like, wow, y'all are that repetitive that every season you kill one character, just one big character that starts with the letter B. If that's not repetitive, I don't know what the hell is. Meanwhile, Walking Dead, you give us this 3-minute amazing trailer with all these clips and a good look at the season with all these clips throughout, hell, probably over 8 episodes of footage here. And, you know, you give all this stuff. Stranger Things, we've been waiting for this piece of crap since 2019. And we're over 2 years, and we've seen 9 clips. I'm pretty sure that's the amount of clips you got in this, like, tiny little stupid teaser. And it gets 2 times the amount of views as The Walking Dead. When Walking Dead provides a major trailer for us. How does that make any sense whatsoever?
And two, like, it's going back to the repetitive thing, is every single season they release the villain so early in the story. 101, the Demogorgon, which is fine. That one I am able to pass because that you need to set up.
Yeah.
Season 2, 201, Mind Flayer and Billy. Season 3, Episode 1, the Mind Flayer and Billy.
So they reuse the villains from Season 2, essentially.
They do.
They recycle and then they just add the Russians there.
They had the big scary Russians, which it's like, that's every, like, cliche movie or TV show's go-to, right? Is like, oh, we gotta think of some villains. Russians, there you go. Big scary Russians. It's
and here's the thing about that made Season 1 so unique from Season 2 and 3. Season 1, it takes place in, you feel like it's just in this area, you know, like in this area. And, you know, you have this laboratory and stuff that they're doing secret experiments on, kind of like an SCP type of thing. If you guys are kind of into that stuff, you guys will know what I'm talking about. It's kind of like you got a breach in the system, and they try to figure out what these guys are up to. This singular laboratory, because it's very secret, top, you know, state-of-the-art type of security there. Season 3, you expand the world too much. You legit have a freaking elevator at the bottom of the mall. It legit drops like freaking 500 feet to the ground. And down there are a bunch of Russians. And it's like you lost your touch with what you were doing way back in Season 1. And, you know, and that's what makes you see that this story did not have a clear view. It never has, and it never did. Season 1 was supposed to be one season, a miniseries, and they freaking screwed it up. And they have now got this big elevator shaft dropping down to the bottom of a mall, which, by the way, no way they could have made it in that amount of time. Come on now, are you kidding me? That big of a base down underneath there, like freaking thousands of feet under the ground, and build a mall. You know, it's ridiculous and it's stupid and it's repetitive and it's just cheesy. It's stupid.
And, you know, this is how I know that they never had a long-term plan with it, and this is how I have to call them out, is because Season 1, exactly, it's supposed to be like a miniseries. And, you know, a good writer, and I'm not here to, insult any writers, that's not what we're here to do, but I am going to point one thing out, is that a good writer would see a fan reaction to Season 1 and be like, wow, people like it. But I gotta stay with the story I have in mind. It's only supposed to be one season. People like it. That's great, but I gotta stay true to my story. Not, oh, well, fans actually like it. Oh, I wasn't expecting that. Oh, well, write a season 2. Why don't you just, let's just write a season 2. And then, oh, people like season 2 even more than season 1. Oh, okay, season 3 then. Let's do some season 3. And then, okay, so then we're going to confirm, okay, but like seasons 4 and 5 though, like one of those 2 seasons will be the last. I don't see final season marked on season 4 whatsoever. So they're continuing because the fans are continuing to ask. They want to see more. And I'm like, but you know what? If you came up with an original story every season and you did something different, I would actually enjoy that. But it's the monster, and like Wasteland just said, it's at the beginning of every single season in the very first episode. There's nothing fresh and new about it at all. That's what I'm simply complaining about, you know?
Yeah, 100%. And something else I was gonna say is, I guarantee you, right, that this season, or like this season, the show in general, it's gonna keep going until people get tired of it. In my opinion, this show's just going to be run into the dirt. Like, it's going to be like, people are eventually going to get sick of it. It's going to be the same thing over and over again. We're going to get to, like, season 7 or 8. The kids are going to be basically, like, fully grown up at this point. It's going to be ridiculous. And you can already tell with season 4, they're starting to set up for a 90s era, which means that they're going to keep going, which means the whole original viewpoint of this being, like, this little small story in the 80s, set in the town of Hawkins, I guarantee you by like freaking season 7, it's gonna be like the early 2000s, and we're gonna be in like New York or something. It's gonna be like completely, the original view is gone. There's nothing there anymore, you know what I'm saying?
Which adds to my argument there was never a long-term plan with this show, because literally you're gonna go from to like the 1980s to the 1990s. You've already ruined your concept. You're not supposed to do the 90s. You're not supposed to do the 2000s. This was going to start with one season. And now you're going to move to, like, probably the 2000s, like Matt just said. Like, honestly, your vision, your plan, everything you wanted for this show is gone. Ended. Put it out of its misery is all I'm saying about this.
Yeah, which, another show, I actually kind of want to compare something here. Because now while we're on the topic of that, something literally just hit me, right? I can't help but to say it just because I'm a Walking Dead fanatic. I have to bring this up. It's like popular Fear the Walking Dead if you think about it. You get some seasons, people kind of like it. Season 3 was widely regarded as like a masterpiece season of TV. And then they change it up so much by season 6 of Fear. You're like, okay, some of this is cool, but the original vision, that's gone. That does not exist anymore. It's gone. And essentially, Stranger Things is like a really famous, popular version of Fear the Walking Dead. That's what it feels like.
Pretty much. Yeah, it's if Fear the Walking Dead actually got famous and more people watched it, and you pulled in a good few more, million views and stuff like that, and you got more people interested. You'd be like, okay, yeah, like it started with something, and then the show just got so screwed up that after a bit, it just turned into something completely different. But here's the funny thing, the writers never changed. It's just the writers sitting there the whole time being like, oh, well, we're making money, gotta keep making that cash somehow, just keep pumping out some more seasons. And I don't care. You want to write a story, you want to do something, I'm saying this honestly as a writer here myself. Yeah. If you want to actually do something, and if you have a fan base, that's great. But stick to your story. Always stick to your story, because you know what? You're going to succeed the most in the end. Because you have that clear vision, and fans like it, that's fine. But end it when you plan to end it, because then your show will always go from the original vision you had. But Stranger Things, it doesn't. It's the same repetitive crap every season, and it's to a point now where I'm just like, man, there can't even be a bad ending. If you ask me with this show, there can't be a bad ending, because there's never was a clear, vision anyway. If they kill everybody off, I don't know, I can't even say that's a bad ending at this point, because there's no clear vision.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
The thing too is, people are always like, oh man, Walking Dead, they're dragging their feet too, they're dragging their feet. Okay, but here's the thing, it's going off of the comic book, guys. This is going off of the comic book. This was meant to last 12 seasons, as a matter of fact. So, in the end game, they shortened it, so you guys are welcome, you're welcome. And another thing too is there's clearly a story that you could tell over 12 seasons here. Stranger Things, they lost us such a long time ago.
Yeah. Well, like we've been saying, it was planned to be a one-season special event, something cool for people to watch during Halloween of 2016, right? And like, it was super popular. Obviously, the writers aren't doing this out of passion anymore. They don't give a fuck for the story. They don't give a shit. Obviously, what this is now, one thing and one thing only: the big bucks.
Yeah,
Big bucks.
Money.
That's all it is.
Yep. Plus Netflix. You know Netflix will never let this go because this is their cash cow now, guys. Like, this is what like friggin' Game of Thrones is to HBO. What Walking Dead is to AMC. It's their big franchise, their big series. The thing is, though, is with Walking Dead and mostly Game of Thrones, those are good shows. Those have good stories, good plots, good characters, a lot of good stuff, good music. Stranger Things, Season 1. Okay, Season 1, like we said, pretty freaking good. Not a masterpiece, but it's a good first season. Season 2 and onward, though, I don't care. Like, it's just... Like, Season 2 is boring. It was repetitive. Billy just feels like a fill-in for Steve because they wanted to make Steve a good guy, so they're like, but we need another douchey teenager character. Billy! There we go. We'll bring that guy in. And then Season 3, from what I've heard, it's like, okay, Billy wasn't evil enough in Season 2. Let's make him possessed and then kill him! It's like,
And he has the letter B, so we can kill him off too. That's perfect, guys. We're done. There's another season completed.
yeah.
And you know, the thing too is, you know, and people always are like, you know, Game of Thrones and Walking Dead, they lost their touch. They lost their touch towards the end. They all, you know, they screwed them. Both of the shows screwed themselves. But take a look here. Each season has something unique about it. Let's just use The Walking Dead as an example. Season 1, Rick waking up from the coma, finding his family, and learning to adapt to the apocalypse. Season 2, going to the farm, trying to find Sophia, and trying to take down his friend Shane, and, you know, and that type of stuff. Season 3, the governor and Woodbury and the prison, you know, their type of, you know, skirmish and stuff, and, you know, of course you get some killer within stuff there too with the prisoners. Season 4, the flu arc. Even though I'm not a fan of it, it's something new. Flu arc, and then you get them on the road. Again, not really a fan of it, but it's something new. Gotta respect it. Season 5, you know, you got Terminus and all that stuff. And Season 6, No Way Out, Lead Up to the Saviors. Season 7, Negan's Reign. Season 8, All Out War. Season 9, A New Beginning with the Whispers. And then Season 10, Whisper War. Every single season has something about it that you're just like, okay, that's very different from the last. Whereas Stranger Things, you know, same thing over and over again.
Yep. And honestly, season 11, I'm going to add to this too. I mean, we haven't seen it, but we know, you know, what they're going to be doing. Like, we know we're going to get the Reapers in the first half of the season. Again, something different. We haven't seen a group like that before. And we're getting a civilization with a crap ton of people. We've never seen this amount of people in The Walking Dead before. That will also conclude the story because our survivors, throughout the whole show, they've wanted to grow up in a place that they can feel safe. They've been wanting to find a place that they can be safe at and where they can thrive. And guess what? Final season, they're gonna find that because that's how it ends in comics. And look, I'm not sitting here saying I know how the show ends, but they've achieved the journey that they've been wanting to achieve ever since the beginning. The lead's not there, but hey, they're still achieving at least enough of what they want to achieve.
Yeah.
Whereas Stranger Things, I'm gonna say it again. The ending, I don't care how it ends. I don't care who they kill off. I don't care how they defeat the stupid, probably the billionth Demogorgon. It doesn't matter. They don't have a long-term plan, and whoever dies, who cares? Because there's never a long-term plan anyway. So there you go.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think we'll go for about 5 more minutes, guys, because I don't want to drag this out. But okay, so final thoughts on Stranger Things as a series. Like, what would you give it out of 10 overall? Like, would you say it's good, bad, terrible, amazing? Like, what do you guys like? Me personally, season 1 is good enough to where I can give it a solid 6. Like a solid 6.
I'm gonna give it a 6.5.
Yeah.
I'll go I'm gonna go 5. Okay, just because first season's good, and everything else I can't care about because it's just the same thing over and over again. And the characters get dragged down and stuff. So half of it's good, and technically season 1's not even all half of the show because there's 3 seasons. So I'll be generous even by giving it a 5 on my end.
Yeah. And I guess final thing here is me personally, I'm gonna watch season 3, and because I do want to see season 4 just because people are talking about it, and I want to be able to retouch on this subject once season 4 is done. I want to do another podcast on this. So I do want to watch season 3 and then watch season 4 when it airs. So are you guys checking season 4 out, or are you guys bailing?
No, I'm checking it out.
I'm watching it just because, well, I've stuck with it this long, and honestly, I'll be honest, when it still comes out on Netflix, I still binge it. I still binge through it and see what they do. So I'm not not gonna watch it. Plus, I like talking about it on my on my channel and stuff. So I do watch it for those purposes. But I'm gonna say the only reason, guys, and I'm gonna be honest about this, and this isn't an unpopular opinion, is this character actually doesn't get that much praise compared to everybody else. I'm watching the show for Jim Hopper, so that's the other thing. That's actually a character, I'll admit. He has been different throughout, the few seasons. So that's kind of the main reason why I'm watching it, to be honest, is to see his story and see what they do with him. But the kids, I've lost interest. I'm going to be fully honest.
Agreed.
Yep. And I guess that covers all our thoughts on Stranger Things, guys. It's a decent first season. It's a pretty good first season. Then the next 2 seasons from, season 3, I'm going to check out. Who knows? Maybe I actually, in some weird way, maybe I'll come back next podcast, we talk about Stranger Things, and I'm like, oh, season 3 was great. You never know. But from what I've seen of season 2, not a fan. Season 3, I've heard nothing but bad things, really. So I'm going to check it out, going to give it a chance. Season 4, we'll have to see. Who knows? Maybe season 4 is magically somehow good. We'll have to see. But, yeah, guys, that is our first episode of Shit We Don't Like. Thank you guys all for checking out our thoughts, watching what we think about the Stranger Things franchise. Next Friday, guys, we're going to be discussing, whatever happens that week, and, yeah, it'll be something we don't like. So, thank you all for watching, guys, and, yeah, guys, see you in the next one.
Bye.
Peace.
See you in the next one.
Have a good day, guys.
And peace out.